We're into the final month of the college football season, and the slate may not have been incredible, but it still delivered. A pair of incredible Big Ten finishes and a top 10 tilt in the Big 12.
And let's be real, Adam, a big reason why you guys are tuning in is because it's the final round of the juicer before the playoffs. I'm going against Josh Richardson, ready to clinch my postseason berth.
Well, if you can't tell, he's already amped up, and you know what I'm amped up for? College hoops season is back. We'll get into everything from an action-packed first week. No Pulp starts right now.
The best performance, I think, all year from Ohio State against Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
They just don't lose at the shoe. She's the best player in women's college basketball in my eyes.
To stay alive, can they hook 'em? Touchdown!
They have the most prolific goal scorer of all time.
He will fire.
He's the guy.
I'm the guy.
Ian's the guy today.
Experience is what matters when it comes to Omaha.
Valuable. You know the number
on.
is everything for a
Hold
team.
on.
First time, how are we feeling, Jake?
I'm excited to win the juicer.
Welcome into No Pulp, everyone. I'm Adam Gotkin alongside Sam Reis. And what a time it is to be a college sports fan.
Yeah.
Football season is really getting into the heart of things. Basketball season underway. And if you're Sam Reis, those college soccer conference tournaments are fun, aren't they?
It's so much fun. You know me. I've got the quad box going, all of the TVs on. If you're a sports dork like me, it's paradise right now, baby.
Anytime I see Sam Reis, he's watching the ACC women's soccer tournament. This guy
Big time.
loves ball, and we had some pretty good ball this weekend. A game that looked really good at the start of the year. Indiana taking on Penn State in Happy Valley. Not too pretty now with James Franklin fired, but the Nittany Lions made it fun. Indiana barely survived, beating Penn State 27-24. And Sam, the Hoosiers almost lost their undefeated season.
So close, and I don't think anyone could have imagined this with just the way Penn State's season has gone downhill. A 5-game skid heading into this one. James Franklin obviously fired. The funniest part about this game to me, Adam, was Penn State was so close to pulling this off, and it would have been hilarious because the whole rhetoric when Franklin was in charge was, you can't win the big game. And Penn State almost did it against all odds. I got to give the Nittany Lions a whole lot of credit because they made things really interesting. And I'll tell you what, at that point when they went down by 13 in the third quarter, I felt like it was done.
No.
Penn State made it come down to the wire.
They did. And here's the big thing and the reason why I think Penn State stayed in the game. It's guys in the trenches were good enough to keep it close. Indiana dominates teams on the offensive and defensive line. That's how they beat Oregon on the road. Penn State has those athletes, and they actually showed up today, which, to be honest, they just haven't showed up all year. And if it wasn't for this incredible, insane catch, it would have been a Penn State win.
It would have been, and I do have to give Fernando Mendoza, though,
100%.
a ton of credit on that
100%.
last drive. I mean, you got to consider, we're talking about inside the final 2 minutes, no timeouts. The drive, by the way, began with a sack, a 7-yard loss. After that sack, Mendoza said, this is my drive. I'm going to take over. Multiple big-time passes to move them down the field. And then Omar Cooper with just the most absurd catch you're going to see. That's clutch right there, and that's why Indiana's still undefeated.
It is, and with Fernando Mendoza, I think you have to talk about this game as the potential Heisman moment.
I agree.
Look, he may not have played his best game, but
That's what it's
quarterbacks
all
are
about.
never going to play their best game every single week in football. He played good enough to keep his team in it, and then he won when his team needed him. He was the guy who stepped up and drove Indiana down the field.
He did, and the Hoosiers still undefeated despite a scare at Penn State on the road. They're holding on to that top spot in the Big Ten for now, and we're going to stay in the Big Ten because it's an exciting conference this year. It really is, especially when you consider the likes of Oregon still in contention for that title game. But my goodness, they were tested on the road at Iowa. Similar to Indiana, they needed a big-time final drive to come up clutch and get a nail-biting victory.
Yeah, look, there's two parts of that game. I think first off, the fact that it was a disgusting weather game. and I think that really played into Iowa's,
Yes.
it played into their help.
It's fitting for a game in Iowa.
It is, and
too.
Iowa's a team that's going to keep things low scoring. Oregon wants to make it a fireworks game, and because of the weather, they just weren't able to. But here's the thing, Oregon really doesn't impress me. You look at their resume, the best win is beating Penn State on the road. Penn State's entire program fell apart after that game.
At the time, it felt huge.
It did.
Now, not so much.
You lose at home by 10 to Indiana, a game that never really felt that close. And, I mean, there's not really any big wins. This is the best win on Oregon's entire schedule right now because Penn State didn't end up meaning anything. And, a win is a win, and the weather plays a factor into it, but the Ducks didn't look very impressive.
No, I don't like when I agree with you a ton, but I do here. I mean,
Two smart guys.
Yeah, exactly. That ball knowers, right?
Yeah.
And we're posing the question here: is Oregon a national title contender?
No,
that's way too much.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I guess supposedly they're still a Big Ten contender, but I don't even think they're that.
No.
It's Indiana and Ohio State's conference right now, no doubt about it. And yeah, there you see the resume of Oregon. I'm with you. It's just
not great.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Like, they beat Oklahoma State by like 1,000 points, and then they fired their coach. They are the team that's beat a bunch of teams that have fired their coach. But shout out to them for having their Grateful Dead theme game. That was incredible. And Oregon's always going to have the brand, and because of that, they're probably going to make the playoff because Nike needs to see its top team in.
Right.
But it is not a impressive football team right now.
No, I'm with you. The one thing I'll add here, though, is shout out the kickers in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Stevens hit a 58-yarder for Iowa in these miserable conditions. And then the guy with the best name in all of college football,
no doubt.
Atticus Sappington, becomes the hero. I love a clutch kicker, and Atticus Sappington was just that for Oregon.
It's the best name in college football, and what was supposed to be the best game in college football, BYU against Texas Tech, 2 top 10 teams in the country, did not deliver at all. The Red Raiders with a blowout victory against the Cougars. This game was never close. 29-7, the final score. BYU, I don't think they realized that this game was even happening. They never showed up.
No, they didn't. And, with College Game Day in town, right, you think I think that should motivate really both teams, but it especially did for the home squad in Texas Tech. No doubt about that. With the 11 a.m. local start, it didn't matter. They were ready to go off the bat. And if you religiously watch this great program that is No Pulp, I'm a big Bear Bachmeier guy.
That's
but
weird.
I
He's
gotta
not that
say,
good.
all right, calm down.
He's got
a
a bad
freshman.
number, too.
The guy's a freshman.
Number
he has
47 at quarterback.
All right. Well, I was going to say he let me down. He let me down this weekend. I'll admit it. And I'll tell you what, no points until the fourth quarter. That's not going to cut it. And BYU really shot itself in the foot early on. They had the botched snap the botched punt return, I should say, where Texas Tech recovers. That was just a sign of things to come. It didn't feel like the Cougars were ready. And again, that can't happen with your biggest game of the season in the national spotlight.
And we were just talking about how I don't love Oregon's resume. I think BYU's resume is even worse. Look, this team was 7th in the country, and they beat Colorado by 3, Arizona by 6. Their only ranked win was by 3 against Utah.
Yeah.
That's not the 7th best team in the country.
No.
I don't think they're alive really to be an at-large team unless they
I'm with you.
go, one loss, but even then, I'm taking a 3-loss Texas over a 1-loss BYU, I think.
And I agree, and I fell for the bait. I really felt like BYU was going to beat Texas Tech in this one. I do. But Texas Tech gets the win here. All of a sudden, my mind's confused because I thought all along Texas Tech wasn't legit. I think that was proven when Arizona State beat them. But then you look, and that's the only Red Raiders loss. They're 9-1 overall. They're in control of the Big 12. I have to take them seriously again.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They have a $28 million roster. Texas Tech is oil money, and in today's age of college sports, that money brings wins. It is as simple as that.
They're paying the softball pitcher there, too.
Yeah,
the whole athletic department.
They have so much money, and their students are not wasting that money by throwing tortillas onto the field. They waited to rush. Texas Tech is doing things right now in sports, and I think they're probably the best team in the Big 12. Well, it's time to see if Sam is the best debater that we have here, but it's going to be tough because Josh Richardson, he knows his stuff as well. Those two will go at it in the juicer when we return. Welcome back into No Pulp. It is juicer time. I'm Adam Gotkin, the judge today, and we've got Sam Reis and Josh Richardson joining the show. It should be a fun juicer today.
Ready to go to war.
And it's an extra fun one because we've got two sports to talk about, but we're going to start on the gridiron, start with football. And Josh, I'm going to start with you. Which star college football player showed out this past week?
How about one of the biggest games in the ACC, one of the biggest upsets of the year, Jacob DeJesus, 16 catches, 158 yards, and the game-winning overtime touchdown. How about it? Oh, what did he also do? Oh, he also completed a pass for 27 yards. How about that sling down the sideline? This kid showed up when it mattered. How about to even add on, Louisville, the best passing defense in the ACC. Talk about showing up when it matters the most. Difficult defense, great performance. He just put the ACC on notice.
But you know what he also has? He has a great quarterback to help him out. Someone who is a baller in the run game and who got a few blocks but did a lot of it himself, Nate Frazier of Georgia. This guy was an absolute beast. He's only a sophomore, by the way, and he destroyed Mississippi State. Look at these numbers. 181 yards rushing on just 12 carries. Are you kidding me? Over 15 yards per carry. In case you can't do the math, I calculated that beforehand. 59-yard rushing touchdown in the second half. This is a guy who hadn't run for more than 75 yards in a single game before this. It was a breakout performance. Most teams rush for not even this many yards, near 200 yards for one guy in the run game. This was utter domination from Nate Frazier. Easily the most impressive performance by any player this weekend. And if you disagree, you're wrong.
Well, Sam, that's probably because Mississippi State, the second worst rush defense in the SEC.
I don't care.
So what type of competition
in Mississippi
is
State would be the first game.
All right. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but a wide receiver having 16 catches and completing a pass. Well, we got this guy here to beat the number 15 team in the country. Josh starts off. That's 1 point to nothing. So, Sam, you have a chance to redeem yourself here. What team wins the championship in the ACC when it comes to football this season?
It's still got to be Georgia Tech. They're the class of the conference. They're still the most talented team in the conference as well. I still have all the trust in the world in Haynes King. I mean, yes, they finally lost their first ACC game, right, to NC State. Newsflash, so has every other team in the conference. So it's not the end of the world at all for this Yellow Jackets team. Haynes King still threw for over 400 yards in that game. The defense will step up, I have no doubt about it. And this is the most talented offense you'll have. He's an elite quarterback. You have also Jamal Haynes in the run game. And Georgia Tech's path is laid out for them here. I feel like they're going to win out. And I even think they're a team that can compete with Georgia in the final regular season rivalry game of the season. Never mind winning the ACC championship, which they'll absolutely do.
Sam, I don't think anything that you said was necessarily incorrect, except for the team that's going to win the conference.
No, well, that's
because
where you're
all
wrong.
of your reasoning, it makes sense. And that's why I have SMU winning the ACC. And I have to tell you why, Sam, because it's process of elimination. The two teams that are going to be in the ACC championship, Georgia Tech and SMU, because Virginia is going to lose to Duke, Pitt is going to lose to Georgia Tech and lose to Miami. So now you have it. You have the ACC champion from last year against Georgia Tech, who's having an outstanding season, but I really like the championship pedigree in the ACC of SMU. Well, you know what? You want to talk about consistency?
They're going to lose to Louisville.
Kevin Jennings is playing his best football right now. 4 touchdowns and an interception in his last 2 games. He upset Miami. He upset Miami, the 10th-ranked Hurricanes at that.
I'm 100% taking Haynes King over Kevin Jennings. Also, I think SMU could lose both of those games. Cal is really, really difficult. So I'm going Sam, question number 2. So, guys, it all comes down to this. Question number 3.
Let's do it.
And we're going to college basketball. Which coach has the most improved this season? Josh, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to bring in a little bit of Pulp into No Pulp.
Sounds like bias.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's Adrian Autry. It has to be Adrian Autry. Do you know why? Because Adrian Autry has been putrid in his first few years as Syracuse head coach. SU coming off its worst season since the late 60s. Syracuse hasn't made the tournament in 4 years. That's the longest drought since the early 70s. Even John Wildhack, the SU athletic director, said that we have to fix this. The rosters have been too talented for this to keep happening. He was on his last leg last last season. Everybody was calling for his job. Fans were. This is a situation where if Autry doesn't do something this year, if Syracuse doesn't make the tournament with this roster, with this recruiting class, he's out. He has to be, point blank, period.
Well, you know who is also who everyone was calling for to be out last year? That would be Hubert Davis in the same conference.
They made the tournament.
Barely. That's what saved him his job, and that's why he's on the hot seat 1,000% this season, and he's the coach that's most on the hot seat. I'll tell you why. He had 2 great seasons, obviously winning the national championship, and then fell off completely. He's had 2 bad seasons since then. He barely snuck them in last year, and I'll tell you what, this is one of the most expensive rosters in all of college basketball, which puts the pressure on him even more to not just get into the tournament, but make a little bit of a run. Just making the tournament is not going to be enough for him, which is no guarantee with the lack of what Hubert Davis has proved over the last few years.
He's made the tournament 3 of his 4 years in charge in North
which is not even close to good enough for UNC.
Roy Williams didn't win the national championship every single year.
I'm not talking about winning the national championship
Syracuse didn't
every
even
year.
make the tournament. We want to talk about championship.
UNC has to do more
than
than that.
that.
UNC
Autry is going to get fired if Syracuse doesn't make the tournament.
I think that these are 2 good answers. But to me, I unfortunately, Josh, I have to go with Hubert Davis because I think if Syracuse was a serious program, Autry would have been fired already. I can see a world where they make the NIT and he keeps his job. Hubert Davis can make the tournament and still get fired.
That's my point.
UNC
why didn't he
is
last?
good
That's my point.
because he made the tournament last year.
But if you're saying that he could make the tournament again this year and he still gets fired, then why didn't that happen last year?
Because at UNC, the level is that much higher, and he has to prove that this team is that elite. All right, let's take a look at the juicer standings. Sam takes first place with the victory. Unfortunately, our good friend Josh Richardson is out of the juicer. I'm excited to be there.
John Baccio, I'm coming for you.
I'm taking on Hudson Ridley. That might be a rematch. Whatever it is, I'm excited for that. We got some fun matchups. Some tall guys facing off, Max Gifford, Ben Chadwick. That's going to be a lot of fun. Well, also some tall guys in college basketball, of course. And it was an incredible first week of action. We'll tell you all about it when we return.
2-0.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 1 seed right here. Come the Juicer playoffs starting next week. He's Adam Gotkin. I'm Sam Reis. Thanks, Adam. You were a great moderator, and shout out to Josh Richardson for a decent fight, but I reign supreme once again. Anyways, we're rolling on here on No Pulp, and we've been talking some football, a little bit of basketball there in the juicer. We're going full basketball mode now. Adam, I know you're a big college hoops fan. I've gotten real into it the last couple of years, and we had a lot of fun games just this weekend, first weekend of the season, highlighted by St. John's and Alabama. They played in Madison Square Garden, and it was an NBA-like score, you could argue, 103-96. Bama gets the job done. It's a big win right there for the Crimson Tide.
It is, and you look at this Bama team, and you look at its guards with LeBaron Philon and Aiden Holloway, and that's a backcourt that when they're shooting at the efficiency that they did in this game, there is no way that you can beat them. Both their guards shot over 50%, and they're just unstoppable. I think that's probably the best backcourt in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, Holloway's a
Rick
junior
Pitino
now.
basically said that.
Holloway's a junior, and he is so experienced and so talented. I mean, this Bama team is special. Nate Oates always has good teams. I think this might be the most talented that he's had, though.
Yeah, and Oates is always, offensive focused, right? He's always going to have teams that have a really good offense that are going to try to outscore you in a shootout, maybe not to this extent.
And to do it against St. John's.
To do it against St. John's,
Yeah.
right? Where St. John's was forced in this game to be in a situation where they were falling into the trap of adjusting to the way Bama was playing, and that was forcing them to rush some shots, which in the end hurt them. And that's something Patino mentioned post-game, because they were playing at the same pace as Bama, but then Bama was getting them the other way in transition because they're so effective going the other way. They just move the ball around so efficiently.
Yeah, if Bama can get 80 shots up in 33s and only turn the ball over 7 times, they're going to win those games. Here's the other thing. St. John's, I will say I am a little bit worried about them. There was a lot in the exhibitions that seemed really bad. They were down by 8 at half against Towson, which it was an exhibition, yes, but I don't like this backcourt as much as I did last year with Kadari Richmond and RJ Lewis. I don't think that it's as good as it was last year. They still can't shoot, and defensively they couldn't stop Bama's guards.
They couldn't. I think they'll be all right. They'll be in the contention there. They should still be a Sweet 16 team, in my opinion. And I think, this is a learning lesson. I think so. You may think that's stretching it, but I think this is an early season learning lesson, right? You get a big game like this out of the way early, and you almost won the game. I mean, they were up 82-80 at one point. You were right there if you're St. John's.
It was close, but I think at the end of the day, if Alabama plays like this, no one's beating them.
We could be talking about a national championship team.
Without a doubt, but the issue is, as the season goes on, that's where they usually struggle, and in the tournament it doesn't come around. But I really like what I saw from Taylor Bull Bowen, the FSU transfer down low. Almost a double-double for him, 17 and 9. With that backcourt, if you can have a true big, that Crimson Tide team is elite.
And for me, it was really just the off-the-ball movement with this team, where guys were consistently getting open, and they were zipping it around, where St. John's was kind of all over the place trying to get organized defensively. So when you have that much cohesion and talent on the floor offensively, that's a squad that's going to drop over 100 points against a really good team in St. John's, by the way. Look out for the Crimson Tide.
Well, that was a fun one. 5 beats 15. We had another ranked matchup this weekend. Number 14, Arkansas against number 22, Michigan State. And the Spartans come out on top, a 3-point victory, 69-66. The end of this game, Sam, we were watching. It was absolutely disgusting. Arkansas had like 4 3-point attempts, and they might have been the worst shots I've ever seen at the end of a game.
Yeah, we were kind of going crazy watching the end of this game in our living room, where we were like, there was enough time in the clock with those first few 3-point attempts where it was like, what are you doing? You can go to the basket. They were passing up on some open twos.
It was like 18 seconds left, and they're chucking up threes.
I mean, come on. You gotta have better awareness in that situation. I don't care, that it's the second game of the season, right? And, a little more defense in this game as well compared to the one we were just talking about. This is big time, though, for the Spartans. I really do. Because, there were some doubts coming in. They lost their top 3 scorers from last year. But they go out here and get a win against a very quality opponent in Arkansas. Cohen Carr is someone who really intrigues me, and he showed up.
He's taking the next step. Here. He's already showing that.
100%. And for me, Michigan State's ability to get into the paint. I mean, this was a squad that went 1 for 14 from 3. And they still beat Arkansas. I think that, while it's a little concerning you shot that poorly from beyond the arc, the fact that you got so many points in the paint, 46, is a great sign. Like, they kind of did what they wanted to on the offensive end.
Yeah, and it is a talented Spartans team. Last year they made it to the Elite Eight as a team that wasn't really that great throughout the entirety of the season.
Big Ten regular season title.
That is true, but still, they almost felt like they were kind of frauds at times.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, if Cam Ward can play the way that he did as a freshman, this is a guy that I love. He's a Maryland public school player. That's something that you never see in the DMV. Me and DMV basketball, the all-time leading public school scorer in the state of Maryland. He had 18 and 10 off the bench in just 23 minutes. I thought he was incredible, and I'm going to get into this more, I'm sure, as we talk more basketball, but this freshman class is unbelievable. The Arkansas freshmen, Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, both had 16 points. Like, it was incredible what those guys did. On the Arkansas side of things, in their first road game, in a true road game against the Michigan State team that might not be on paper that great preseason, but I think showed everyone that they're a talented team.
All I have to say here is I love the public school shout out for high school. Public's always greater than privates. Remember that at the high school level. Anyways, that was a great game, and I love how it was a home game too for Michigan State. We need more of those. The neutral site games are cool and all, but I love the home sites and those type of environments this early in the season. Let's go to the ACC though, because the ACC and the Big 12, I should say, at the ACC venue, North Carolina, because the Tar Heels got a big win, 87 to 74, I should say. They pulled away at the end of this game, and this was a big win for the Tar Heels against a Jayhawks team that looked a little bit vulnerable to me.
Yeah, I think Kansas has probably the best player in the country in Darren Peterson, but they're just not well-rounded. They don't have...
They relied on him way too much.
They don't have the veteran leadership that North Carolina does with a guy like Seth Trimble, who I thought completely changed the game at the start of the second half. He gets back-to-back transition layups, pushes the pace. And the second half, UNC was unstoppable. They had, 58 second-half points?
Yeah.
They started off 18 for 23 in the second half, and it was the leadership of their veteran guy in Seth Trimble that brought them to that.
And you know who also balled out for North Carolina? That would be Caleb Wilson. 24 points, leading the way for the Tar Heels. And let's just say he had some interesting comments post-game.
I think it sets a aggressive tone like we're here. Like, me personally, I feel like I've been disrespected in polls and things like that. People telling me I'm not a top 3 freshman in the ACC, so I'm just going to keep going out here and killing people. Because I got a list on my phone, and it's nowhere near done, so it's just going to keep happening.
He's got the list. He's got the list handy, and he's going out to kill him, Adam.
Yeah.
I honestly, I love the mindset from a young guy like him. Look at the freshman phenoms. That's a good way to put it. I mean, these two guys put on an absolute show. You wouldn't have known it's their first week of their careers in college basketball, and I love that mindset from Wilson.
All of the talk was about Darren Peterson going into that game, what he could do on the road, #1 player in the country, but Caleb Wilson is unbelievable. 24, 7, 4, and 4. And he just looks like, at times, in the paint, a man amongst boys. Like, he is so athletic. You see that dunk. It's just incredible what he was able to do. And, the fact that UNC and its fans are all the way bought in on him already. They do the whiteout because he wanted it. I mean, the way that he played in a game like this, it's just unreal. And his mindset and his attitude, wanting to prove everyone wrong, it's that type of thing that special players have. And I think, unfortunately for me, as someone who does not like North Carolina, Caleb Wilson might be the best freshman that they've had in a little bit. I like him better than some of the guys they've had recently, especially Elliot Cadeau was supposed to be their guy. I think he's better than him. I think he's better than Armando Bacot. I think that, Caleb Wilson's the most talented player probably that we've seen with Hubert Davis.
Yeah, very effective from the field too, 9 for 12. And hey, that guy right there, Hubert Davis, it might be early in the season, but some nerves probably put at ease because he's on the hot seat. If you were tuning in earlier, he's definitely on the hot seat. That's a big win right there. All right, time for another break here on No Pulp, but we're talking more college hoops after this. Adam and I are going to construct our own team. That should be fun, so make sure you stick around for that.
Welcome to my house. Lately, not my happy place. Everybody's pretty tired of each other. The parents were not themselves. My little brothers were morphing into small creatures. The walls were closing in. Clearly, a case of too much family, too close, 24/7. And there's a lot of that going around right now. If this sounds like your house, try going someplace new. YourLifeYourVoice.org. You'll find lots of ideas to help you handle the family stresses of being confined to close quarters. YourLifeYourVoice.org. It might not get you out of the house, but it could help you find a little more breathing room.
Welcome back into No Pulp. Adam Gotkin here with Sam Reis. Still talking some hoops. Time to give our big three, or Sam the little three for the short guy.
I knew you were going to say that. It was inevitable.
It was so obvious I had to do it. There's 6 guys here. This is Sam right here. Totally, right?
Yeah, I can still ball, though.
You should see this guy on the basketball court. It's scary. He's like a little rat running around, poking balls out, diving. A lot of fouls, though. You can't have him with a referee.
I get in foul trouble, but
a little bit.
you know, I'm heart and soul.
All right, well, as much as I'd love to talk about Sam's basketball skills, we do have to get into our big threes from this season. And Sam, who are you going with first for your point guard, the guy to lead things?
Yeah, let's go to Purdue, Braden Smith. I think this guy is such a high IQ, point guard for this team, and I love the way he plays too. He averaged a double-double last season, and he's already averaging that this year too, with 13 points per game and 10 assists per game as well. And he has the ability to pull up if he wants to, but he's also a great facilitator. Again, he moves the ball around effectively, and he's one of the few elite point guards in the nation who can actually make an impact on the defensive end of the floor too, which, can't be said about everyone. I just think all around his game is really effective. I want him as my floor general.
Yeah, I love Braden Smith, and it's been really fun to see his play develop, going from, Zach Edey's point guard to now being the guy and one of the most relied upon players in the country. I like that pick.
Sure.
I like my point guard as well, though, and I'm going with Donovan Dent. You may remember him from New Mexico last year, but now he's at UCLA, and he is still as good of a player as he was before. He started off this season 17-7-3. That's not a bad split. He's just so electric on the offensive end. I think he might be the best player in the country at driving downhill. He's got such incredible body control with his speed. It's not like Luka level in terms of the stop that he has, but he's able to get guys on his back so easily, and then he's a 40% three-point shooter as well last season. I mean, this is a guy who's an absolute stud on the offensive end, but his defense might be the best part of his game. I mean, what he did last year at New Mexico, coached by Richard Pitino, it's incredible the way that he was able to lead that defense. And with Mick Cronin at UCLA, I really, really like Donovan Dent.
All right, that's a good shot. We got our point guards built, but still 2 more to go with the big 3. Let's now go shooting guards. Who are you selecting for your shooting guard?
For me, I'm going with Darren Peterson. Look, I think he's the best player in the country, and I really don't think it's a question. The #1 recruit out of high school, and if you listen to how people talk about him, you can tell he's special. There are people that have been saying he has LeBron James level discipline and drive. Bill Simmons said he's probably the best guard prospect he's seen since Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
It's unbelievable the way that he plays too.
He
doesn't have a weakness in his game. He can shoot it from 3. He's got great size. He can play and make really well. He's really good on the defensive end, and he doesn't have much of a team around him right now.
I was just going to say that. His teammates got to step up now, too, and I think that could make him even better, right?
It could, but the talent that he has, it's unbelievable. My goodness, I hope that my Washington Wizards can pick him up.
Wow, you're very excited.
Me, big Wizards guy.
Yeah, Darren Peterson for him. I'm going with Otega Owe of Kentucky. This guy is great. He's SEC preseason player of the year for the Wildcats. I love the way he plays because his athleticism and physicality with his game is awesome. Because look at that. You can see he's a spot-up shooter. He can pull up from downtown, but he can also drive to the rack. He has the ability to draw a lot of fouls and get to the bucket, so he can score in a variety of ways. He also has a great clutch gene in him. He hit a couple of big-time shots for Kentucky last year, most notably against his former team, Oklahoma, in the SEC tournament, where he hit kind of a wild shot. He's a guy Kentucky relies on down the stretch, and he tends to deliver. I love having him on my big 3 as my shooting guard, although I like your pick too.
Yeah, there's 2 guys right now. Of course, it's so early in the season that those stats, a lot can change, but to me, the way that Darren Peterson's been shooting the ball, 3 made threes in each of his first 2 games, I think he is a special basketball player, and that he's one of those guys that you don't see come around too often. I think he is generational, and we'll just see that more and more as the year goes on. All right, so we've got our guards.
Yeah.
How about the big man? Who's rounding out your lineup?
JT Toppin. This guy is so fun to watch, and he dominates in so many ways, too. I was looking at some of his tape and stats from last year. In a game against Arizona State, he had 41 points and 15 rebounds.
Not bad.
Another game, 32 points and 12 rebounds. Oh, by the way, on the biggest stage in March Madness, he was averaging around 20 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. He had a double-double in all 4 NCAA tournament games. He can quite literally single-handedly take over games for the Red Raiders just with his size and presence alone. He's dominant on the glass, and he can score with ease. I love JT Toppin as my big man, I do.
I mean, it's hard not to. He's a great basketball player.
He is.
But for me, there's a guy, a freshman, another one.
You love the freshman.
I do love the freshman this season.
Yeah.
Not maybe Darren Peterson level, but the way that he played in the opener, he might be making a case. Koa Pete at Arizona had, I think, maybe the best debut that I have ever seen in a college basketball game. He dropped 30 points. Yeah, that's right. He dropped 30 points against the reigning national champion Florida Gators, a team that returned almost its entire front court from winning the title, and he had 37 and 5. And he just physically looks to be at a different level than everyone else, especially in that game. I mean, he was just doing basically whatever he wanted, and the poise and the calmness that he has as a freshman, it is, again, it's at another level, the stuff that he's been able to do this year.
Some guys are just ready for college. He's the prime example of that. Unbelievable what he managed to do in the first game of his career. It's absurd. So I think we both compiled some really good victories.
So we've got our
Again,
two teams up here. Who do you think is going to win?
I'm taking my team.
Shocker.
Yeah.
No, if we're talking realistic here,
but a close
my
game.
Team wins.
No,
I got the size here. I also like my shooting as well.
I love my shooting.
I think 21-14.
That's a little harsh. It's a 2-point game. In fact, we might go over 21. Got to win by 2.
Really? You think it's going to be that close?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, either way, I think that this would be really fun. I wish we had the college basketball video game so we could actually make this happen. Unfortunately, though, EA, you got to get it done. I don't know what's going on. All right. Well, when we come back, we've got our plays of the week, our final words. You don't want to go anywhere.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back into No Pulp. Adam Gotkin joined by Sam Reis. Ready to close up shop the way that we always do with our plays of the week and our final words. And let's get things going with my play of the week. First, I got to go to the hardwood because I love college basketball.
Basketball guy.
Basketball plays, I think, are always going to be incredible because, well, you got some dunks. And how about Colin Chandler? Look at this. Woo! Oh, my goodness. He yams it down. In a blowout win, yes, against, I think it was Nichols State, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, my goodness, though.
That's still cool. That's still awesome.
What an unbelievable dunk from Colin Chandler towards the end of a game. Doesn't matter. Absolutely yams it. A poster. Incredible stuff. And Kentucky goes on to win that game 77-51.
And you mentioned they were just playing Nichols, but Always a great crowd there at Rep Arena in Lexington. Gotta love that place rocking for a yam like that.
His former hometown.
That's true. For 2 years, it was I call it a 2-year vacation. But anyways, my top play, I'm going to the gridiron, simply because I want to watch this play over and over.
Fair.
Omar Cooper, Indiana. This is absurd. I mean, we showed it earlier in the show. I don't think I've seen a catch as great as this, like maybe ever. The most impressive thing is he gets the left foot down before that right foot lands out of bounds. You see the slow-mo view of it. It's so close. That would not be a touchdown in the NFL. It is in college. That was unbelievable how he manages to make this play, because at first you're thinking, oh, Fernando Mendoza overshot him there. But no, he somehow launches up, hauls it in, and gets Indiana the win. That's awesome stuff, Adam. Come on.
That's just flat out incredible. Well, time for final words, and if I haven't made it clear yet already, I absolutely love this college basketball freshman class, and I think that it is a generational one. I mean, the level of talent is just flat out insane. Darren Peterson being the #1 guy, I think, to me, is pretty much set in stone. But there are other players that you could also say are the #1 recruit. How about AJ DeBanza? You could say one of the highest rated recruits ever, at least people thought, until Peterson jumped onto the screen. How about Caleb Wilson and what he did at North Carolina, or Koa Pete and what he did at Arizona? Also, the Boozers at Duke, the guys at Arkansas, the freshmen that are playing right now in college basketball are just simply at another level. And it comes at a time where freshmen are, thought by some to not be as important. You have some coaches like Rick Pitino saying that he's only going to recruit the portal, and then the freshmen come out and play like this. I think that this freshman class is special, is better than last year where college freshmen were the top 8 picks in the draft, and I think that there's a chance that this might be the best freshman class that we've seen this century.
Wow, high praise for this freshman class, and fair enough, Adam. For my final word, I want to talk about ECC football. Now, this past weekend was further proof that the conference is not good. And if anyone is still arguing the ACC is somehow being disrespected, well, that's just dumb. After we saw Virginia, the lone undefeated team left in the conference, fail to score a touchdown in a loss to Wake Forest, Louisville lose to unranked Cal on its home turf, and Duke fall to independent UConn, I think it's pretty safe to say now that the conference champion will be the only ACC team heading to the playoff. And while sure, that's not a great look for the conference, if you're a college football fan like myself, that shouldn't matter. In fact, you, like I will be doing, should embrace the chaos. Yeah, I get it. You can watch high-quality SEC football games as usual, but you should also embrace how entertaining these last few weeks of the ACC are going to be. With 3 weeks left in the regular season, no team in the conference is undefeated anymore, but what you have is 5 teams with 1 loss. All of them having a legitimate chance to still win the ACC. And oh yeah, none of those teams include Miami, Clemson, or Florida State. Instead, that list includes SMU with 3 overall losses and Duke with a 5-4 overall record. Listen, complain all you want about these squads not deserving the chance of going to the college football playoff, but this will be a lot of fun to follow. The reality is we're in mid-November and still have no idea who will be going to Charlotte to play for an ACC championship and a spot in the college football playoff. The quality of football might not be the greatest, but the unpredictability and parity of the ACC this season is why you should tune in and enjoy what I'm calling the all-chaos conference these next few weeks.
Oh, I like it. The all-chaos conference. Yeah. My cousin, whose boyfriend went to SMU, texted me today saying, do you think they're going to make it to the ACC tournament? Should I buy a trip to Charlotte? And I was like, I can't give you an answer. Like,
and it's pretty awesome.
I wish I could help you out here. Unless you want to go buy tickets.
Yeah, that sucks if you're in that spot. But, I think it's what's making this so entertaining down to the wire. You have no idea.
So you said Georgia Tech wins the ACC.
Yeah, I still do think that.
I agree with you. I think that with Haynes King, the Yellow Jackets are the best team in the conference. And I actually agree with you. I think that they have a chance to beat Georgia.
I'm with you.
All right, well, that's all the time that we have on No Pulp this week. For Sam Reis, I'm Adam Gotkin. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.